For over 4,500 years, one single structure has absolutely captured the human imagination, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It is the last wonder of the ancient world still standing, and it holds a secret that we're still trying to crack. So let's get right into it. How in the world was it built?
To really wrap your head around this mystery, just look at this number, 2.3 million. That's the estimated number of stone blocks in the Great Pyramid. And we're not talking about pebbles here. Some of these blocks weigh up to 80 tons. That's like a dozen elephants. It's like building an entire city, but stacking it vertically. And here's the kicker. They did it all without a single piece of modern machinery.
So that's really the question, isn't it? How do you build a mountain, a literal man-made mountain? And not just a sloppy pile of rocks, but one so precise it lines up almost perfectly with north, south, east, and west. So today, we're going to dig into the blueprints, the ones we think we know, and some that are, well, way, way out there.
All right, first up, let's talk about what's called the granite blueprint. This is the theory you probably learned in school. It's the mainstream, widely accepted idea, and it's backed up by a ton of research and actual physical evidence that archaeologists have found right there on the ground in Giza.
The mainstream theory really boils down to two things the Egyptians had a whole lot of: brains and brawn. We're talking unbelievable ingenuity and a massive workforce. The idea is pretty straightforward, right? You quarry these gigantic stones, sometimes from hundreds of miles away, you get them onto these big wooden sleds, and then thousands of workers just drag them up these huge ramps made of earth and brick. And these ramps would have gotten bigger and bigger as the pyramid grew taller.
And look, this isn't just some wild guess. There is real, solid evidence to back this up. I mean, archaeologists have literally found the quarries with blocks still half carved out of the rock. They've found the actual tools they would have used. And get this, we even have ancient Egyptian art that shows massive teams of workers pulling huge statues on sleds. It's kind of like they left us a pictorial how-to guide.
Okay, so the ramp theory sounds pretty solid, right? But it's not the whole story for everyone. You've got modern engineers and scientists looking at this and going, I don't know. They argue that just using brute force and ramps, it just doesn't quite add up. They think it's time to rewrite the blueprints, that there has to be a smarter way they did it.
And that brings us to this quote from a material scientist named Dr. Joseph Davidovits, and it's a real bombshell. He basically says, we've been looking at this entire problem completely backward. He's saying, what if they didn't have to do any heavy lifting at all? What if they just made the blocks right where they needed them?
So here's the idea he and some other researchers have. They're proposing that the pyramid blocks aren't actually carved stone. Instead, they're like a super advanced ancient form of concrete. The theory goes that workers would carry bags of limestone rubble and some kind of natural binder up the pyramid, mix it with water right there on site, and then just pour it into molds. If that's true, it's a total game changer. No more dragging 80-ton blocks up a ramp. But like any good mystery, this theory has some major holes. You gotta ask, right? If they were pouring concrete into molds, why aren't all the blocks the same size? One of the most famous things about the pyramid stones is that they're all slightly different. And maybe the biggest smoking gun that's missing? After all these years of digging, we've never, ever found a single piece of one of these molds. Not one.
Okay, so if not ramps and not concrete, what else is there? Well, another idea completely ditches the ramps and focuses on something the Egyptians were absolute masters of: water. This is the hydraulic lift theory. Imagine this. They build a huge shaft right up the middle of the pyramid. Then they use canals to channel water from the Nile's annual flood right into that shaft. With a system of floats and counterweights, they could have basically created a water-powered elevator to lift those massive stones up. Pretty clever, huh?
All right, so we've got ramps, we've got concrete, we've got water elevators, all ideas that are at least based in some kind of engineering. But now we're gonna go a little further out. We're gonna go beyond the blueprints. What if the answer isn't about engineering at all? What if it's something extraordinary?
How about this one? Levitation. Yeah, I know it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but there are actually ancient legends that talk about builders using sound, like hitting stones with special rods to make them float. People who believe this think the Egyptians had mastered some kind of sonic technology, using vibrations to make these multi-ton blocks weightless.
Then, of course, there's Atlantis. This is the classic lost civilization theory. The idea is that the pyramids weren't built by the Egyptians we know, but by super advanced survivors from the mythical city of Atlantis. Now, this whole idea actually comes from a story told by the philosopher Plato. And while it's a really cool story, it's important to remember that archaeologists have never found a single shred of physical evidence that Atlantis was a real place.
And you knew this one was coming, right? You can't talk about an ancient mystery without someone bringing up aliens. The ancient astronaut theory, made super famous by books like Chariots of the Gods, basically says there's no way humans could have done this alone. The only explanation is that they had help from extraterrestrials with advanced technology. Now look, it's easy to laugh off some of these ideas, but the thing is, they are wildly popular. A survey actually found that over half the people asked, 57%, believe that civilizations like Atlantis really existed. So that makes you wonder, right? Why are we so quick to believe that the answer has to come from somewhere else, from a lost city or even from outer space?
And that question, that's where this whole conversation gets really interesting. Because this isn't just about engineering puzzles anymore. It's about something much, much bigger. It's about who gets the credit for history. This quote from Sapiens magazine really nails it. Think about it for a second. Have you ever heard anyone seriously argue that aliens built the Roman Colosseum, or that the people of Atlantis built the Parthenon in Greece? Probably not. The article points out a really troubling pattern. These kinds of "they couldn't have done it themselves" theories almost always target the incredible achievements of non-European peoples.
There's actually a name for this. It's called pseudoarchaeology. It's when theories sound scientific, but they have no real evidence to back them up. And even if people don't mean any harm by it, these ideas can be really damaging. They basically erase the ingenuity and the hard work of entire cultures, of Black, indigenous, and other people of color, by saying, nope, no way you could have done this. Someone else must have done it for you. And unfortunately, this can get really dark really fast. The article shows how extremist groups, like white nationalists, will actually grab onto these theories. They'll use the idea of a lost white race, like Atlanteans, to push this false narrative that they were the original master builders of the world. It twists what seems like a fun, harmless theory into a weapon to promote a racist ideology. And that, right there, is the takeaway. That's the whole point. The debate about the pyramid isn't just a fun thought experiment about ancient engineering. It's actually a mirror that reflects our own hidden biases. So pushing back against these fringe ideas, it isn't about ruining the fun. It's about making sure that the ancient Egyptians and every other culture get the credit they damn well deserve for their own history and their own genius. So the next time you see the Great Pyramid or any ancient wonder, maybe just take a second and ask yourself that question. When I imagine how this was made, whose ingenuity do I see? Am I seeing the incredible skill and tireless effort of the people who actually built it? Or am I looking right through them for some other explanation because it feels easier or just more exciting? The answer to that question? Well, it might tell you more about yourself than it does about the past.